Welcome to Uncork Your Mind. This is Debbie. I'm the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess, and in this edition, we're going to Winephabet Street. N is for Nero d'Avola, and we have a special guest all the way from Sicily, Gaetana Iacono from the VALLE DELL ACATE Winery, and she is just absolutely wonderful. I'm telling you, I could have just gone on for hours just talking to her about her winery, about Sicilian wines, and it was just a wonderful episode, so I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to Uncork Your Mind, where we take the intimidation out of wine with your host, Debbie Iacono, the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess.
All right, we're on.
We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Winephabet Street. And today we are up to the letter N. It is third season, Deb, and we are up to the letter N already.
We've been married a long time here.
We have been. And we are talking about Nero d'Avola today. And we have a special guest all the way from Italy, from Sicily today. But before we get into this is our guest, Gaetana from Sicily. And well, you guys kind of know who I am. I'm Lori. My husband and I own Jacono Wines. I do Exploring the Wine Glass, wine education, Spanish wine scholar, WSET level 2, champagne specialist, Côte d'Aron, and I don't know, Cab Franc proponent, because Cab Franc Day is coming up soon. So I got to get on the ball for starting to do that. But we are here for Nero today. So Deb, how about you?
I'm known as the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. I'm a certified specialist of wine, a wine location specialist in Port and Champagne, and a wine sherry specialist. I am chairperson for the Hudson Valley Wine and Spirits Competition. I'm author of a book called Tapping the Hudson Valley, Day Trips and Weekend Itineraries, Visiting the Hudson Valley Area. And I am partner in a restaurant in North Wildwood, New Jersey called Trio North Wildwood. We're a casual fine dining establishment, bridging the gap between bar food and fine dining. And if I forgot anything, someone will remind me of my accomplishments. 2 kids, a dog, and a granddaughter.
There you go.
So, and we have Gaetana. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself? Oh, unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
You're muted. Are you there? There you go. No, I still can't hear you.
How did that happen?
What, really? Still can't hear you.
It should be up on the top. Did you accidentally hit that before because we were talking about it?
Got it. You got it. Yep.
Okay.
Hello. There we go. There we
Sorry
go.
for that. This is the beautiful magic technology.
There it is. Absolutely.
I'm Gaetana Iacono. I come from Sicily, and my winery Valle Dell Acate is located in southeast of Sicily in the province of Ragusa. And I have a family winery from 6 generations. And I want to follow this wine business from my family, despite my father doesn't want. And I love to work on the native wines of the area of Ragusa because I believe in the beauty of the place where I was born, and I believe in the 2 native wines, especially from the area of Ragusa, that I'm sure that people love. And my work is very, I look at every time on the past, but thinking on the future. And we discover how later.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Last year, I was supposed to go on a press trip to Ragusa, to Sicily, to see the whole region. and like it got canceled, and I was so disappointed. So hopefully one day in the future, another press trip finds its way to my email, and I get to see it because it looks amazing there. It absolutely looks beautiful.
And I actually think the wines of Sicily in general are just so under the radar that people don't think to reach for them. They don't,
and they're missing out.
Oh my God, they are. They are.
All right. We have Elmo. So now if we can mute ourselves, we're going to get Elmo going. Oh, Deb. There we go.
All right. We're all there.
You know what? I never get to hear anything because I have to mute everything on my end. So I just always hope there's music.
There was.
I need Deb in the future. You need to like do that or something because I can't hear anything. but here we are.
Yes, here we are. And before we get into everything, we have Gaetana Iacono from the Valle del Acate. Is that how you say it? In Sicily?
Valle dell'Acate.
Acate. In Sicily. And before we talk and get into everything, where can you talk about the Ragusa province? Where is it? And if someone was to go to the region, beside wine, what else is the region about?
Okay, we can say that Sicily is a really beautiful region, and it is so there are a lot of diversity that brings Sicily like a continent. You have to know that Sicily has had a lot of dominations, so many people left something, kept something, but left something. So you can, so Sicily today is very well visited, and you can find beautiful cities and a lot of different foods, different wines, and I can say that you can separate Sicily in two big area. The East Sicily, and we are in the southern East Sicily, is much more influenced from Greek culture, and for that reason, and the food is mostly fish and vegetable and cheese. The temperature is temperate and not so strong, and people are very nice. And when you come in Sicily, we have a warm hug from these people that are very happy to show how the quality of the life is very good. The West Sicily is beautiful too, but it's much more from Arabian influence. So the weather is much more strong, and the food is much more with the agro-sweet taste, flavors. So Sicily, it's really like a continent. It's a beautiful visit, but you need the time because our route is horrible. So you need time, and you can lose yourself around the way. But don't panic; it's normal. So you need time to visit Sicily, and specifically the province of Ragusa became very famous in the last 10-15 years because of famous TV series from the Montalbano policeman that put in evidence how this, that's all the world they saw this, and they put in evidence how the province of Ragusa is very poor, it's a natural. The countryside is beautiful, poor, not building, and the sea is beautiful, the food and wine, and we have 3 cities under UNESCO protective: Modica, Sicily, and Ragusa Ibla. We have 3 restaurant stars Michelin in the province of Ragusa that is very small. And we have also a lot of beautiful small restaurant, and the wine as another characteristic respect of the other part of Sicily. So I can say that the province of Ragusa is a little treasure inside a big treasure. So there are a lot of reasons to come in Sicily today.
I want to get on.
All right, sign me up.
Me too.
Now, you touched a little bit. Yeah. You touched a little bit on it in your little bio, but you mentioned you were born into the wine industry. Was there ever, and that you want to continue this tradition, but was there ever a point in your life when, you know, like when you were younger or whatever, that you didn't want to follow in this footsteps? Was there some other calling that you wanted to do, or was it just, you know, following around daddy and learning and knowing this is what you wanted to do your whole life?
It's a funny story because I can say that I'm a woman that makes the opposite of the wishing of the parents, because my father was did not want that I follow his footsteps, because he thought it was too strong from a woman, because my family is involved in agriculture. We have a vineyard. We have also an organic oranges estate, and he thought that was very strong work for a woman, especially in Sicily. Despite of that, I fell in love with the story of my family that are today with me. We are the 6th generations, and I was fall in love with the story of my family in the wine business. We sent the wine in the 19th centuries in France inside a little barrel that's left from the winery and goes to into the ships to Marsiglia. And I was for me, that this travel of the wine was so romantic, and especially I didn't want to lose the value of the native wines. But of course, when I started to work in the winery, I have a very clear focus on my job. I wanted to work on this 2 native wine, especially Frappato, and the blend between Frappato and Nero d'Avola, that is the Cerasuolo di Vittoria. I want to give a value for this wine, and I was sure that I believe that the wine is a culture, and the culture is taken from the past and getting into the future. So my idea is we receive it very much and we won't give back. But for that reason, you can work thinking, don't follow the fashions. So you follow your way, you follow the value. And I can say that there is one word to answer to his questions, that is the continuity. The work of continuity for me was very important. I bring to the past, but I follow my personal way with innovation. That's for me means organic certified vineyards, sustainable protocols, and excellent quality. And of course, I did it because I have a 7 soil, but we can speak about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get to those 7 soils. I'm intrigued. I am so intrigued by that. I was reading all about it. I'm like, oh my God.
That was it's something very funny also, because when I started to work, I understood that my Nero d'Avola especially and the Frappato in the blind testing one was always recognized. And I asked to my father, but why I have so unicity? The wines is so has a great identity. And I saw that he replanted the vineyards exactly in the same place and in the same soils and same locations. And before, because he knows from his knowledge, and together we understood that we have 7 different soils inside our vineyards, completely different in exposition, in color, sandy clay, black clay, and there are very old soils from Pleistocene, maybe 780,000 years ago, and this was the fortune that I understood, to have something different and something very important to work for my project, to give value to these 2 wines. I have something unique, and for that reason each wine comes exactly from one soil, and this soil gives identity and gives the great expression for each wines. And before was only experience. Today, the data are confirmed by analysis. So we are very we work on 3 different contrada inside the vineyards that are organic, and we understood that the 7 different soil was the base to start a great work.
So
Wow.
with those 7 soils, are you like, you're having Frappato, Nero d'Avola, you have each of those in each of those 7 soils?
Yes, so the Frappato, for example, come from 2 contrada in 2 different soils, black soil with a white stone and red soil. For example, the Cerasuolo di Vittoria, that is the blend between Nero d'Avola and Frappato, come from red soils. That is perfect for the Cerasuolo. The Nero d'Avola comes especially with the dark soil, that is clay without any stones, despite the soil of the Frappato is clay with the white stones. That means the root goes in deep and move it and give the flavors to this Frappato. And the Grillo come from yellow soil that is sandy, like the sandy of the beach, and the soil is yellow and gives a Grillo with a great minerality. So different characteristic and different wines with a great unicity.
So when you blend the Nero d'Avola and the Frappato, they have to come from the same soil types?
Yes. You
wouldn't, if you were growing in the dark soil, you wouldn't blend that with the Frappato because it's grown in a different soil?
Yes.
Okay.
When I think to the Cerasuolo, the Frappato and the Nero d'Avola come from the height plateau with the red soil. Light red soil for Frappato, dark red soil for Nero d'Avola. When I think to the Frappato 100%, I think for black soil with a white stone. And when I think the Nero d'Avola alone, it's a dark clay, compact, black soil. So this is inside the vineyards, like surrounded, like a circle. In the center there is the winery, and the soil are around the winery.
So the wine. Did you want to say something, Lori?
Yeah, I just wanted to reach out. So we have a question from somebody in the chat, Bob. But I want to hold off on that till we actually start talking about the characteristics of the wine. So he would like to know what is the minerality or nuisance in the soil that becomes evident in the wine. But I think we'll wait to talk about that when we actually start talking about the wine itself.
Yeah, sure.
So go ahead, Deb.
So I want to touch on the history of the winery, of the Valle dell Acate, the whole history. I mean, how did you guys, choose that plot of land? And, and then you went on and you got the 7 soils, and that's what makes you different from everybody else. But did you know that going in when you're,
Yes.
She wasn't even a thought in the eye yet.
I know. Your dad know that going in.
He was, of course, in the old time, my family has a country estate for oranges under Vittoria, but Acate is a small town that was perfect vocated for grape for wine, and because of it was a valley, it is a valley with a great exposure in the sun, with a very good gap between day and night, and it's close to the sea. I think it's 15 miles from the sea. Okay. So the valley one time was full of grape wine. Unfortunately, today we are quite alone, and because many other producers transform in grape for fruit, because the grape is beautiful in this valley, and that was the reason that in 19th century my family bought this winery, this vineyards, because it was perfect for the wine and perfect and the soil they discovered later maybe, but they went there because the valley was particularly vocated for the grape, for the wines.
Okay. Yep. And then the 7 soils came out from that. You want me to go on to the next one, Lori?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're located within and I'm going to try and say this to the best of my ability because I butcher everything. The Cerasuolo di Vittoria DOCG. And this is in no relation to the Cerasuolo di Abruzzo. And oh, you got it. The Cerasuolo. Tell us what that means, because we thought it meant rosé, but upon researching, it doesn't really mean that.
Yes, it's an older story, because Cerasuolo comes from the cherry fruit color. Because in Sicilian language, cherry is cerasa. So cerasa comes from the cherry red color of fruit, because at one time the Cerasuolo di Vittoria, that's today is a blend di Frappato with Nero d'Avola, was made only from Frappato. So of course the color was discharged. The color was more light red, and for that reason the name of cherry, like a cherry, that in Sicily the cherry is a light red fruit. It's not the cherry from Vignola that is black. In Sicily it's red. So in 1973 the Cerasuolo became a DOC, and in 2005 became a DOCG, and today is the only one DOCG in all the Sicily. And the color of course changed, became more deep, more black, but the old name remains. And so I understood that sometimes there is a bit confusion, because cerasa means rosé, but for Sicilians in the old time, cerasa means the cerasa fruit, and the color was from the Frappato. So that is, I understand that there is a bit confusion for that, but it's a red.
Okay. All right, so it is basically the same reason why Abruzzo calls it Cerasuolo di Abruzzo, because that's that cherry, that's cherry what it was explained to me, is it's that cherry red color. And so, I mean, we keep going back to Frappato, and for everybody who's doing Winephabet Street, season 4, we're going to do Frappato, and Gaetana is going to come back. But so Frappato is then a lighter, thinner skin, and that's why it's.
Yes.
Is that why it's typically blended with Nero d'Avala now?
The Frappato is a typical red wine, red light, very old in this part of Sicily, much older than Cerasuolo, that is a blend. So we can say that Frappato is the original wine from the area of Vittoria and Ragusa, and it was always with the red color, and it's a light red, an explosion of blackberry, strawberry, but ruby red light. Okay. And the blend with the Nero d'Avola, it was the first, the most old blend in Sicily, Frappato and Nero d'Avola, and became Cerasuolo. But for the skin, of course, of the Frappato gives this light color, and the same reflection is in the wine, because it is an explosion of smell, but the wine is it's a crispy, but it's very light. The Nero d'Avola in a blend with the Frappato is very old blend in Sicily, but the Nero d'Avola is for me personally is very nice, 100%. But the Nero d'Avola Grace is good with the other blend with the other. In the past, there was many Nero d'Avola also with Cabernet, with Syrah, but today, fortunately, we are coming back in the poor Nero d'Avola to put in evidence the different area of Sicily that they can give a very different Nero d'Avola.
So it's considered to be a full-bodied wine. And when people here are writing about it, they're comparing it to Cabernet Sauvignon or Syrah, which to me, those are two completely different styles of wine. So I don't like that that description either. But so how would you explain what would you explain is that a similar grape that somebody here might be more familiar with to Nero d'Avola? What would be a more similar grape, and why is that? And then I think that might be a good time to talk about the palate, what it feels like on the palate.
Okay. The Syrah and Cabernet, the expression is much more with the pepper and the herbs. The Nero d'Avola is much more with the fruit, cherry fruit, black fruit, and the licorice and cacao taste. So it's very different. And another thing, never Nero d'Avola is like a bomb, like Super Tuscans or Bulgari. So Nero d'Avola is, in general, we can say that it's a dry wine, but strictly wine, but not super bomb and not over matured, not marmalade. And this is very, very important to understand in Nero d'Avola. The Nero d'Avola, it's not an origin for a part specifically of Sicily, because the origin of Nero d'Avola is everywhere in Sicily, but it depends on the different area, different climate, different close to the sea. We can say that the Nero d'Avola remains, the trees are Mediterranean, balsamic note of eucalyptus. This is very prominent in the Nero d'Avola. And the Nero d'Avola of Western Sicily, it's a little much more sugar. And the Nero d'Avola of southeastern area, it is much more fine and with the hints of cherry and more velvety, especially in the area of Noto and Ragusa. It's quite different. Of course, we can say that Nero d'Avola is the king of the grape in Sicily because it's depend of the different also vinifications. You can the acidity of the Nero d'Avola gives the possibility to make Nero d'Avola for long aged. But also you can have Nero d'Avola. It depends on the different vinification. You can have also drinkable Nero d'Avola. So it's of course Nero d'Avola in the area of Ragusa is very velvet, not powerful wine, not muscular wine, but very elegant, aromatic, and very red fruit. I can say that the nose is full of red fruit like plums and cherries and berries and spices also.
Oh, wow. How many hectares do you have planted of the Nero d'Avola grape?
In general, I have a winery, the vineyards, it's quite 50, 60 hectares in total, but organic, certified, but Frappato is mostly. And Nero d'Avola, 4D Cerasuolo is the second step, and the two Nero d'Avola that we present today, Il Moro and Tanè, the Cru, is very unique, and the hectares is a few. It's almost 8-10 hectares in total for the two wines. For my winery, Valle dell Acate, the two Nero d'Avola represent a small wines in respect of the Frappato and Cerasuolo, and the first, the Moro, we makes in two Contrada Bidini Soprano and Contrada Bidini Sottano, and it's come from black soil, very compact, very dark, is a clay, and we use the little barrels, but we prefer the tonneau to the barrique for these wines, to give velvety and elegance and not the sense of wood for this type of Nero d'Avola. The second is a Cru that's come from vineyards that had almost 30 years ago, and is a small Cru, is a small terrace with ochre soil, so the soil is more light and color ochre, and gives and we leave the grapes a little bit more in the before the harvest, taking care don't lose the acidity. And Tanè is our Cru, and it's a beautiful small terrace that's produced these wines in few bottles. And the name Tanè is my name in the nickname of Sicilian dialect.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
And so just to go back to, so I don't know, our wines are on the way, so
Yes.
we're not being able to taste with you. But do you have those bottles open, Gaetana? So like maybe
Yes.
you can pour a glass and people who are watching can see at least the color of the wine as you describe it?
This is the first wine that I pour. I don't know if you see, is the Il Moro. And Il Moro, the name come from an old name from my family. You know that in Sicily we have also the domination of the Moro, I Mori, and so it's something that there was in my family. So you see that the color is red, but not purple red.
Right.
It's a little bit more light, more ruby, and the bouquet is is a red fruit like plums and cherries and spirits, and notes balsamic of eucalyptus. And this is very important in our Nero d'Avola. We can say that this Il Moro is a wine with a full body, with a good structure, but very, I can say, the tannins is with a tannin, with good tannins, not aggressive. And the Nero d'Avola is aggressive. Sometimes in other Nero d'Avola you can find a nose with the leather, and not in Nero d'Avola in my winery in the area of Ragusa. The nose is cherry and black fruit and chocolate and licorice, but never leather. Leather is something that's in the other part of the Sicily that gives a Nero d'Avola more warm and more sugar, and this is a drinkable Nero d'Avola.
And which soil was that? This
is the black soil, and the soil is not volcanic, but it's a soil so dark, so compact that seems volcanic because it's black, but it's black, it's clay without any space, that any dark store. The vineyards are almost 20 years old, the vine, and there is a dark chocolate tannins and a very good drinkability because of the velvety and elegant taste. There is. I want to show the color, the other Nero d'Avola, that is the Tanais, because you see that Tanais is the vintage is
darker.
You see the color is completely changed, and this is
it's more brickish. It's more like
a little bit granite color, and also the nose, the wine is more spices and more licorice and more dark chocolate. And it's less fruity than Il Moro, but the vineyards are 30 years old, and this is the example of Nero d'Avola for long age. So I can say that the Tanais is a wines that you can keep for 15 years, 20 years, because Nero d'Avola has this good characteristic. It depends of your work in the vineyards and in the winery. You can have the Nero d'Avola more drinkable or for long age. Of course, the nose changes, and for Tanais we use barrique. We don't use the tonneau as the Moros, I told you, and we here use barrique, where we can leave the wine from 1 year, and then after 1 year we have a longer refining battles, more than 2-3 years. So at the moment we are drinking the 2014, and soon the more is 2020, this is 2014. So there is a big difference to the wine. What is important to say, despite the two wines are so different, we don't lose the fruity, never. So this is a very important characteristic of the Nero d'Avola.
And so what do you think makes Ragusa, the province of Ragusa, so ideal? You've said multiple times that Nero d'Avola, is the king. What is so special about your region that Nero d'Avola is in love with it and grows so well? And then we have a question from Michael, which I don't know if you can answer or not. He's curious as to how would you compare your Nero d'Avola to like a Nero d'Avola from our regions in California, Napa or Sonoma or the Sierra foothills. Like, so what makes your region so special that it's the king? And then if you can, how would you compare it to what he may have tasted here in California?
Okay. Yes, I think that's the most important thing in the Nero d'Avola of Sicily. You smell and test the Sicily, but really, because you can test the Mediterranean aromas. You understand that they come from when the sun is sunshine and the smell of the region. It's very Sicilian, and of course, I can say that. You can find a big difference because the California, of course, has the sun, but it's not the same Mediterranean of Sicily. So the characteristic of the region, the warm, the sunshine, the dry area, makes the Nero d'Avola a very typical Sicilian wine. So of course there is a big difference. I'm sure that Nero d'Avola from California is very good, but you cannot smell the Sicily. And I can say that really the Nero d'Avola seems to bring all the warm and dry and sun and the smell of the Mediterranean.
Yeah. That balsamic, right, is probably not going to be in those California expressions. Okay.
And just like anything, it might be the same grape, but grown somewhere else, it's not going to have the same characteristics. And it's not going to, there'll be certain things that might taste familiar to both, but they're going to be two completely different wines.
But I can say a little things about the Frappato to demonstrate that. In Sicily, the original area of Frappato is Vittoria, and the Frappato names Frappato Vittoria. But today, because the Frappato became a very fashion wines, there are many wineries in Sicily that produce Frappato, and it's Frappato di Sicilia. The two Frappato are very different, and we are in the same region. Mm-hmm. So it's the soil, the characteristic of the climate, the warming makes a lot of difference in the wine.
Absolutely. And now when you're in the vineyard, does Nero d'Avola, does it have is it a difficult vine to grow? Like, are there things you need to worry about? Pests that you need to worry about, or mildew? Is it easily susceptible to disease, or is it just a happy little vine?
No, Nero d'Avola, fortunately, is a very resistant grape. The harvest is a little bit late, so it's middle of September, despite what we can think the Nero d'Avola, the maturation of Nero d'Avola start in the middle of September. And normally for us that we are organic certified, we cannot, we have the practice organic, so with the legumes, and of course we are most attacked there is something in the air because of organic. But I can say that especially in the climate changing, we have seen that the Nero d'Avola and the Frappato are very resistant, and so we don't need to do, and the grapes is oval and very compact. It's not big grapes, it's medium normal, and the leaf is round, so it's but it's not very difficult, but needs a very I can say quite maturations. So the maturation is slowing.
Oh, okay.
So when you think maybe there is especially a warm, very hot harvest, Nero d'Avola doesn't anticipate the harvest. He stopped and then go again so the maturation it's slowing, not aggressive, so you can, but very good resistant. So not very. I think that in the future we can think about the grapes that are resistant in a climate changing, because of course every year we have something different every year. So we say, oh my God. So this harvest was very good. So we can we cannot say something wrong. We had a great harvest, less quantity, but good quality. So but also I can say that the natural wine, the natural vineyards, we expected that the harvest will be a little bit complicated, but this is the natural, and we have a lot of respect of the natural. The important is the harvest is good, less quantity, okay, less wine.
Yeah, but it's got to be good. Do we know who the parents of Nero d'Avola are?
Pardon, sorry?
The parents. Do we know who the parents of Nero d'Avola are? The parents of the
no, what we can say there is something similar with Dolcetto or some wines from Piemonte, but not in general the parents with the Nero d'Avola. And for example, for Valle dell Acate, I choose a winemaker from Piemonte that's helped me to find a great quality for Frappato and Nero d'Avola, because there is something in common, something in the flavors that remains the Dolcetto, the Barbaresco, but not really parents with Nero d'Avola. It's a very old grapes in Sicily that appears around the 1500, but it was written in the register in 1900, but it appears many years before.
Did Nero d'Avola originate in Sicily, or did it come from somewhere?
The variety, yes, and it's a funny, because Nero d'Avola in Sicily is called also Calabrese, but it's not come from Calabria. It's come from Sicily, because it's difficult to explain it in Sicilian dialect, but I try. Calabrese is, we say Cala Aurisi, and Aurisi is Avola. Avola is a little town near Noto. So this is the specific origin of the Nero d'Avola. Cala Aurisi from Avola. It's very difficult to explain, but because the sound is not familiar. But this is the proof that the Nero d'Avola come from Sicily, and it was really that the story was. There are many written that demonstrate that the Nero d'Avola was in Sicily from 16th centuries, but it was written in 20th centuries. Many written in the register like Nero d'Avola. It's the same I think it's the same for the Frappato, that the Cerasuolo was Frappato, but nobody knows. So for many years, the wine remains in the region until one person says, okay, now is the time to write the register, and the register for the Nero d'Avola came in 20th century.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah, very interesting.
Food pairings, Deb, right?
Okay. So we're down.
What
okay,
do you?
What are your favorite food pairings with Nero d'Avola? And how is the wine enjoyed in Sicily with Sicilian cuisine?
In my wine life, I traveled around the world, and one of the very special things was to pair the Nero d'Avola with the international cuisine. It was when I was in Missouri, the Nero d'Avola with the pork was perfect. So the Nero d'Avola is very easy for pairing. Specifically in Sicily, if we started from the area of Ragusa, one of the great pair is the pasta alla norma with eggplants, ricotta cheese. And in Sicily, we also do the normal pasta alla norma or the timballo alla norma. The timballo is like a tort. It's round with the pasta inside and the eggplants. So the pasta alla norma is perfect with the Nero d'Avola. Another very good thing is the caponata. The caponata is a mix of vegetables, agro-sweet, with the eggplants, zucchini, olives, and very famous, and also the parmigiana. So the eggplants is something perfect with Nero d'Avola. This is for vegetables and pasta. For the other plates from Sicilian cuisine, we can say also the Nebrodi mountain pork and the roast, the artichoke and meat. And one important thing is the cheese. The Ragusano
cheese is important.
Yes, very important.
Very important. It depends of the season. For example, the Moro is paired with the Ragusano cheese mid-seasoned. The Tanè, that is more big and full body. It's it's paired with the cheese with 13 months seasoned, and so very seasoned cheese, and also stew with meat like the game pate is perfect with the Nero d'Avola. I can say that's a very easy pairing, Nero d'Avola. In Sicily, it's very easy, but also I can say that I have seen in the international cuisine all over the world for this presence of the tannins, very fine, not aggressive. Nero d'Avola is very well pairing with the meat and roasted meat, steamed meat, because it's gentle and it's not aggressive. And don't cover the food, going on the side of the food. And this is very food friendly, we can say.
Yes.
So with its, see, I think that there's kind of a misconception because the way you're describing, well, you're saying there's two different expressions of it where it's drink now, but then you make the second version that is meant to be lie down. So is this a wine that would be recommended upon opening to decant?
Today, sorry?
So you had said that you've made, you make two different styles of Nero d'Avola. Yes. One you kind of make to drink now, and one to lie down. It can age and do all that. Here, I think the concept is that it's a bigger wine, right? That's what they're saying. That's what they describe it as. So is this a wine that you would recommend to decant prior to drinking, letting air get to it for a while?
Yes, I can recommend this, especially for the wine like the Tanè, that is a cru. We need, of course, 30 minutes before. But in general, the Nero d'Avola open before and the counter is better because we give the time to the flavors to go out or to go, because when you open it's closed and then it's open. So much more the crunch is better. Of course it's better.
Okay. And sorry, Deb, that was yours.
No, I think we research and everything and we come up with the questions, but like I said, everything just kind of flows. I mean, this is like a free flowing conversation. So we cover a lot of stuff that off our checklist.
Right. And so as you're making these wines, you said that you do barrique, everything. Is there anybody who does it in stainless, like to
Yes,
make
of
it?
course.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, of course. So it's dependent which style you want to. It's a very versatile. So it's dependent which style you want and in which exposure of the vineyard. The Nero d'Avola in stainless steel is very drinkable and very nice for aperitif and very fresh. And this blackberry and red fruit is in the flavor is much like fresh fruit. So of course, for us we have Tonneau and Barrique, but of course the Nero d'Avola is stainless steel. It's a very nice wine for aperitif and for easy to drink. Yes, it's possible. It depends on the area, depends on the vinifications, but it depends on the grapes and the vineyards and the export.
Of the stain, when it's done in stainless steel, would you recommend putting a slight chill to it before you serve it, or just serve it at room temperature?
A little bit, because the wine perfect chilled is the Frappato. The Frappato is the best in chilled. Okay. But of course, the Nero d'Avola, I don't think we need to serve chilled. In general, it's of course a different temperature for the Tannet, for example, right. But it don't need to serve chilled.
Okay. Wow, it makes me want a glass of wine.
I know. Well, yes. I'm at 10:30, so maybe a little later. But
this is just, like I said, I think that Nero d'Avola is like a sleeper of a wine. Like, I don't think enough people really know about and are educated. And I don't know if I use the word educated kind of loosely, because it's not a wine that people would reach for, even if they're eating Italian cuisine. And I think that it's the real sleeper on the menu. I think when people, are looking for a really good Italian wine, they need to reach for that Nero d'Avola. I think they're going to be very, very surprised at what they find in that bottle.
Yes, you are completely right, because sometimes the difficulties, you can imagine that Sicily for many years, and also the Nero d'Avola, was sold in bulk, not in bottles. So I can say that the people has a bit confusion about the Nero d'Avola, because on the market you can find a lot of Nero d'Avola. Sometimes you didn't understand exactly where it come from the part of the Sicilian. So it's very important for people to understand better of the education of the Nero d'Avola, and it's a very, for me, it's you can suggest to make a travel around the Nero d'Avola from the different parts of Sicily to discover the different characteristic of the different area, and so you discover that is a great grape with a very special characteristic. Sometimes because it is in all the Sicily, people has a bit of confusion. It's much more easy for Etna or for Ragusa with the Frappato, because you can produce only there, and so people understand better the identity of the wine. So the Nero d'Avola we can consider a travel around the Sicily, and I think this is the things very good for the Nero d'Avola.
Yeah. You have anything else, Lori?
I just was going to ask, what is the approximate price for your wines?
Oh, I think it's a medium height for the Moro. I think it's in retail. It's 25 to 28, okay. And no more than this. And Tannet is quite double, not double, but quite double. So it's I think it's good affordable wines for my winery. This is my philosophy in general, to be sustainable for people. And I think it's the food price, balanced price. It's a very good way to promote the wine and to have a balance with the production and the consumers.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, we're coming up on our 1 hour, and we try and keep it to an hour because your time is valuable. And where can everybody find you online? Like, can you tell people where to find the winery, your URL, if you're on Instagram, Twitter?
Yes, we have Instagram for Valle dell Acate and Facebook Valle dell Acate. Because I have two profiles. My personal profile, it's not the winery profile, because I'm not very familiar. So I have with the social profile. So I prefer to have a profile for Valle dell Acate, where really I can say you can breathe a little bit of Sicily, and you can have an idea of our vision of my focus to give the value of this wine. Yes, it's at Valle dell Acate, and then we have a website www.valledelacate.com. Yes, it is. There's a yellow soil that is the mostly soil that we have in the winery, because the old structure where my parents did the wines in the past 19th centuries is the stone is yellow, because it's they made for yellow soil. So I choose the yellow from my 7 soils. I choose the yellow. They are the color of the gold stones where my old buildings.
Okay, great. Well, we can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your evening to join us and to let everybody know all about the Nero d'Avola grape and your winery and your 7 soils. I'm telling you, I'm running with that one. That is just, I'm loving that.
I thank you very much for your time. This was a great opportunity for me to explain the 7 soils that I consider a treasure for me, something a fortune, and the value that I want to give to my wines, and the opportunity to explain the Nero d'Avola and how the beautiful region is the Sicily. So the only thing is we miss you that come in Sicily.
We will, Lori.
We would love it. Yeah,
definitely on my list. And and I hope everybody that is watching, whether they're in our audience now or in our audience later, comes away with a lot of value about the Nero d'Avola grape and your wine. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
You have
too.
a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, I learned something every episode of Winephabet Street with this special guests that we have. They are just so knowledgeable on the subject matter at hand, and Gaetana was just fabulous. I could have went on for hours talking with her. And I have to tell you, we didn't have the wines on the show because they arrived after the show, but they were phenomenal. I mean, gives me a whole nother perspective of Nero d'Avola. We tasted the El Moro 2019, which was grown in the black soil, very smooth on the palate, had some cherry, some red fruit on it. It was just absolutely wonderful. And then we tasted the BDN Chirsolo di Vittoria, and that was grown in the red soil, and the different soils attribute to different things, different tastes and nuances in the wine. And this was 60% Nero d'Avola and 40% Frappato, and she is a real big Frappato grower as well. And this had raspberry on the nose. It was light. It was nice. Almost want to put a little bit of a slight chill on it. Plum, very well balanced, red fruit,
And then I got to taste the 2014 Tain, which had nose of like chocolate and tobacco and the palette of cherries, and it still had some nice tannins in it. It was so well balanced, and there was some red currants in it. It was just wonderful. So anyway, I'm not going to continue to go on and on like I can. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me at debbie@hudsonvalleywinegoddess.com and follow me on Twitter, or wait, it's called X now, HV Wine Goddess. I'm HV Wine Goddess on Instagram and Hudson Valley Wine Goddess on Facebook. And please tell people about the program and how, great education it is on wines, and leave some comments on whatever podcast provider you are listening to this on. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see